Hello, my name is Christopher Burks, and I'm the owner of Elegant Music Group. I'm a music producer and a musician as well. Just going to briefly talk about recording and editing in the music industry and how it innovates and impacts the producers and everything today. As we can see here, we're talking about it's called DAW, which is Digital Audio Workstation, and that's the software that pertains with Pro Tools, Logic, FL Studios, Ableton, GarageBand, which basically loads up on your computer and you do your recording. You do instrumental, MIDI. Um, you can do live bands, vocals. You can do pretty much everything on each one of these, and you do your editing and everything from there. Um, so this is what we have now. Um, Back when this is before Pro Tools, we had reel to reel, which back then you only could record one time. There was no multi-tracks. You did everything on one reel, which is tape. Um, so yeah, you pretty much had to be perfect on everything that pertains to this. Um, back in the day, like I said, we had reel to reel. Most studios, well, actually, all studios had reel to reel starting off before Pro Tools and everything became digital. Um, Reel to reel, it kept up with everything, and you know, one take on everything. Um, this slide is almost the same. Just talking about the difference in the expenses and purchase of back then. How you're recording and everything, and how recordings actually were done, and the expenses on recording. Um, we used to use it, and it was called analog reel, and it started, basically the experience with analog and how people recorded them, and um, basically it was reel to reel cassette. Recording and editing in the music industry. Nowadays we have Pro Tools and Logic, like I said earlier, and all that, which is a big plus to the music industry because you record and it gives you wave, and with the wave you can go in there and edit, and if someone says something that they didn't mean or call for, you can go in there and delete it out. Breathing, whatever it may be, you can go in there and delete it out. Editing, pasting, cutting, placing stuff where it didn't get put, placing it there, making it the right way, or the way the artist like it or best fits. Um, that's basically. Also, you can record up to many tracks as you want. With Pro Tools and Logic, you can record all tracks at one time, or one single track and go back and do your next track. Um, Also, you have all the plugins and everything that helps you know your recording sounds better. So Also here we're still staying on Pro Tools and multi-tracks and erasing excess and stuff and making the quantity of the music much better. That's where Pro Tools and Logic and the other software, Ableton, you have the access to make the sound more crispy and more, more full, and you're able to go in there and adjust things versus what you had back in the day. Now you can go in and you have the plugins and their reverb, delays, and compressions and everything that basically helps out with the with your recording. Here we're still on Pro Tools, and as you can see, the picture shows you Pro Tools and a lot of things that go with it. You have actually have instruments that's built in into Pro Tools. You have plugins that for vocals, and you have all your instrument plugins. You have your reverbs, delays. You can go in there and add these to each vocal or even each sound as well. So, like I said, Pro Tools is audio and video. You can use it with the movies and everything else. Here's the history of how digital started back in the early 90s. It was a big help to the music industry. Over the years, it has gotten better and better, and they're starting to add more stuff to help your recording and help everything else that goes on with it. Here we have multi-tracks, and with Pro Tools, as you can see, it's you can record up to 192 tracks at the same time, or more. You go in and you can edit those as well. You have MIDI tracks, audio tracks. MIDI tracks you can use with a MIDI board, or you can't get vocals in MIDI, but you can instruments are MIDI. Pro Tools as well. It's easy access for erasing and pasting and cutting and putting things where they need to be as well. As you see here, as an artist or producer, now we have the state-of-the-art studios, personal computers, which are not available were not available in the early 90s, and you can do a lot now versus back when recording were we're reel to reel. Here we have we're talking about basically limiting of creating of pitching up the voice. If your drum's not in tune, you can actually tune your drums through here, through Pro Tools or whatever software you use. Like I said, once again, you're cutting and pasting and rearranging things basically the way you like them to be arranged. Once again, this has been a big impact on the music industry, a big impact and a big help with the new software and everything that's coming about. And on this one, we're basically the same thing. While changes are still in the making for it, and to make things much better in the industry. Um, Basically, we're still, where you can record with live bands, and you can be very creative and go back and fix things the way you need them to be fixed. Um, as you can read this slide about, groundbreaking, you know, with 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 a DAW, it's very helpful in the industry.